afternoon, everybody. What's happening, everybody? Friday, November 22nd, 2024. My name is Kevin Smith. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Loud Majority Live. We got a jam-packed show for you guys today. We got breaking news at this hour. We're going to get to that in a minute. Later on in the show, we are going to be joined by Hannah Faulkner. The incredible 17-year-old who has been fighting for America harder than most people I know, which is pretty wild because at 17 I certainly wasn't doing that. She's published her first book, so we're going to be talking to Hannah in a little bit. Also, Elon Musk getting monetary revenge on some of the people who have attempted to wrong him for standing up for the principle of free speech. Pam Bondi, former Attorney General of Florida, has been appointed to be the new Attorney General of the United States. First woman to ever hold that position. We're going to get into all those details. Who is Pam Bondi? What is she all about? What is she up to? We're going to get to that in a little bit. Before we get started, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share this video out all over the place. What's up, AC? What's up, Jeanette? Marissa, how are you? Shout out to the chat. What's going on, everybody? Everybody watching. As always, Conservative Autumn, hello. As always, got to make sure I say hello to you. Cap Locked, what's going on? Tommy Girl, what's Ricky Katz? How are you? JV, what's happening? What's happening? We're gonna wait for everybody to get into the show. Give it a couple more minutes, and then we'll get to the breaking news of the hour, which, of course, is that much of the speculation over the last couple of days on what Congressman Matt Gaetz was going to be up to was answered on Charlie Kirk's show about a half hour ago. Congressman Matt Gaetz has said that he, while he did resign from this current Congress, he would also not be returning to Congress for the 119th Congress. Here was Congressman Gaetz on Charlie Kirk.
So, Matt, I now have to ask about just what your plans are, and it's okay if you have to, punt on it because you might not know. It's important to know you resigned from this Congress, not the next Congress. Our audience is 100% behind Matt Gaetz, by the way. They are very, very upset that you were not able to get all the way to Attorney General. I have to ask, what is next for Matt Gaetz?
I'm still going to be in the fight, but it's going to be from a new perch. I do not intend to join the 119th Congress. There are a number of fantastic Floridians who've stepped up to run for my seat, people who have inspired with their heroism, with their public service. And I'm actually excited to see Northwest Florida go to new heights and have great representation. Charlie, I've been in an elected office for 14 years. I first got elected to the state house when I was 26 years old, and I'm 42 now. And I've got some other goals in life that I'm eager to pursue with my wife and my family. And so I'm going to be fighting for President Trump. I'm going to be doing whatever he asks of me, as I always have. But I think that 8 years is probably enough time in the United States Congress. In Florida, our voters got to vote on term limits for state government, and the campaign was 8 is enough. And so you can only do 8 years in the Florida House of Representatives. And so it seems like a pretty poetic time to allow that great new blood to come in, to allow my district to have high quality representation. And don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not taking off for a tropical excursion for the rest of my life. I am here to help save this country. And one thing the great patriots at Turning Point know, we need people at every level. We need brilliant lawyers on the outside. We need tough congressmen and congresswomen on the inside. We need a leadership structure under President Trump that's going to allow for durability of our movement and the ability to continue this great realignment of our politics. And so I'll play a part in that. I plan to be a big voice, but maybe not as an elected member of the government.
So there you have it, straight from his mouth. Congressman Matt Gaetz will no longer be Congressman Matt Gaetz. Now, this has opened up much speculation on what this will mean moving forward. Obviously, should Marco Rubio be appointed to the Senate? Could Ron DeSantis put him there? Possibly. I would say that's probably unlikely. I would say that's probably the least likely of the scenarios. Florida governor in 26. Who knows? Who knows? Look, Matt's 42 years old. he will absolutely be back. He's not. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he's done with the movement. That's for sure. That's for sure. I would be very shocked at that. One could say. So best of luck to you, Matt. I'll see you soon, my friend. I will see you soon, my friend. Guys, once again, that is the breaking news of the hour. Hit the thumbs up button. We got big numbers in here today. If you're watching on X, do me a favor. Please do retweet this video. Once again, guys, later on in the show, we'll be joined by Hannah Faulkner, another host here on LFA TV, about her upcoming book. 17 years old, published a book. I don't think I read a book until I was 17 years old. This kid's publishing it, so you guys are definitely going to want to stick around for that. More breaking news at this hour. Judge Juan Marchand. Judge Juan Marchand sucks again. As Donald Trump supporters continue to win, the New York judge has granted Trump's request to file a motion to dismiss the charges completely, canceling sentencing indefinitely. Here was Fox News.
Fox News alert now and some developments in the hush money case of Donald Trump in a New York City courtroom. The New York judge, Juan Marchand, has granted Trump permission to file a motion to dismiss that case. He's already said that he was going to delay sentencing for a little while. He says now that he is going to delay sentencing even further. How long this goes on is anybody's guess at this point. Obviously, the judge is going to consider this motion to dismiss. Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA, agreed that Trump's attorneys should have an opportunity to file a motion to dismiss, to be considered by Judge Marchand. But here's the thing, is that Bragg and his office are willing, if Judge Marchand does not grant the motion to dismiss, Bragg and his office are willing to wait until January 20th, 2029 to resume this case. They said that they're willing to put it on hold for more than 4 years and then start it all back up again when Trump leaves office. I mean, that is, by any stretch of the imagination, unprecedented in American judicial history. So very soon, we don't know when Trump's attorneys will file this motion to dismiss, but we should hear very soon. And then we'll get Judge Marchand's decision on it after who knows how long.
The last part of that is what I really want to talk about. The part that I find so funny or so ridiculous is that if Donald Trump is such a danger to the community, if Donald Trump is so bad that he must be in prison, you're willing to postpone charging him for 5 years just to go after him? Very likely there'll be a new district attorney by then. Very likely there'll be a new mayor by then. Very likely there'll be a new governor by then. Very likely there'll be a new attorney general by then. Michael Henry, what's going on? So how bad could these charges actually be if you're willing to postpone them for half of a decade? Now, that's the obvious question. The more obvious thing is that you guys know all your liberal friends on Facebook, all your liberal friends on X, all the people out there that knew damn well that Donald Trump was going to end up in jail. I've been trying to encapsulate my emotions knowing that the most ridiculous of all the charges against Donald Trump have virtually been dismissed at this point. I've been trying to encapsulate how I feel about this, and really all I could come up was this. That's really all I got right there. All I got, just laughing my ass off at all of them. We told you this wasn't going to happen. We knew this wasn't going to happen. Up, down, and sideways, not going to happen. You can't throw the president in jail. That's not how any of this works. But all the brilliant people out there on social media, they knew. All those people who may not be lawyers but play one on TV, they all knew this was going to happen. They knew he was going to go to jail. But nevertheless, not going to jail. Now, some people may say being forced to live in Washington, D.C. is much like a prison in and of itself. Now, sure, I totally get that. But the cases keep falling, which we knew they would. Judge Marchand will eventually have to dismiss these. It's only a matter of time when they will happen. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, Judge Juan Marchand, who should be disbarred if we had any sort of accountability in our legal system, the last bastion of what we once thought was morality and truth and justice in this country. We've seen blow up directly in the deep state's face. Guys, we'll be back in 1 second.
The biggest benefit, honestly, has been with my skin. Skin was more hydrated, more radiant.
This is the best superfood that you could take.
It has all the essential nutrients you need for your skin, your gut, energy, focus, mood, performance.
My hair has gotten so much thicker ever since taking this.
I used to have a probiotic, a green juice. I replaced it all with this Arma colostrum. It is amazing.
You gotta take it.
If you want to try it, try arma.com.
Guys, start feeling better today with the superfood formula over at tryarmra.com/LFATV. That is tryarmra.com/LFATV. You guys know you aren't getting the nutrients you need every day. Let's be honest. You're not eating your fruits. You're not eating your vegetables. So go check out Armor Colostrum over at tryarmra.com/LFATV. That's tryarmra.com/LFATV. Once again, I want to give a big shout out to everybody watching here today. I see some new names in the chat. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. Lawrence, how are you? AC Knight, as always. Vintage Little Gal, how are you? Yeah, I can't believe Ray Liotta's dead. That you just reminded me of that. That's pretty sad. Good actor. Very good actor. Kevin, did you ever live in Pennsylvania? No. I have never lived in Pennsylvania. I wouldn't deign to be that close to that many Philadelphia Phillies fans. Can't do it. Won't do it. Can't do it. Christine, how are you? ZBM, what's happening? What is going on, everybody? So let's get to more breaking news, obviously, that broke yesterday following the Congressman Gates news. Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General of Florida, is now going to be the new Attorney General of the United States. And you know what? Let's just get the obvious. Let's just get the obvious out of the way. A fighter for the America First agenda. Coming from the free state of Florida. All good things. All good things. Now, the obvious. She's also really hot. She's also really hot. Let's just be honest. Let's get that out of the way. I'm waiting for the left to try to claim she isn't. Let's just move on. No need to keep bringing up how hot she is, even though, you know, she's really hot. Really hot. So, who is Pam Bondi? This is what we're going to dive into today. From the post-millennial, President-elect Donald Trump nominated former Attorney General Pam Bondi to serve in her administration at the head of the Department of Justice, saying, quote, "For too long, the partisan Department of Justice has been weaponized against me and other Republicans. Well, not anymore. Not anymore." This is incredibly good news for anybody who was looking for that kind of a fighter in Congressman Gates. Pam Bondi was one of the defense attorneys for Donald Trump's first impeachment. Obviously, she's on board with the movement. Obviously, she's on board with the message. Now, with all that being said, obviously, I would have rather had Matt Gaetz, but Pam Bondi is good. Pam Bondi is someone that I think that we can trust in order to continue the de-weaponization of our government. Here's Fox about Pam Bondi.
Tonight, a lot happening during this show. Just announced, the president-elect has selected Pam Bondi as the next Attorney General of the United States. I'll read from this announcement from the President-elect. I'm proud to announce former Attorney General of the great state of Florida, Pam Bondi, as our next Attorney General of the United States. Pam was a prosecutor for nearly 20 years, where she was very tough on violent criminals and made the streets safe for Florida families. Then, as Florida's first female Attorney General, She worked to stop the trafficking of deadly drugs and reduce the tragedy of fentanyl overdoses deaths, which have destroyed many families in our country. She did such an incredible job that I asked her to serve as our Opioid and Drug Abuse Commission. During my first term, we saved many lives. Again, he goes on to say she's smart and tough and is America First fighter who will do a terrific job as Attorney General. Again, Pam Bondi from Florida, the next nominee for President-elect Trump, who obviously saw today that Matt Gaetz pulled his name from nomination as the votes were not there on Capitol Hill in the Senate for Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. Pam Bondi, now the name that the President-elect has put forward in that position.
Now, once again, I am not going to speculate on why Matt Gaetz pulled his name, what it meant. Were they playing 5D chess? Was there some sort of look over here? Well, I'm not going to play any of that crap because I don't know the answer, and neither do you. And neither do you. We're about moving forward here. We're about furthering the movement. I've long said that it is where Republicans need to be done holding the line, and it is time for us to begin moving the line forward. Now, with that being said, obviously we've got to talk about the establishment Republicans that went out of their way, decided to thwart Matt Gaetz in what he was doing. Obviously, that would be Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, some guy from Utah you've never heard of, and the sleepy little turtle who can't think anymore, who has lost the ability to think. And of course, that would be Mitch McConnell, one of the worst people just ever. Thank you, Cocaine Mitch, for deciding that we no longer need a fighter at the Department of Justice while you sit there with your head squarely up your ass. Some other people I'd like to thank is some guy who looks like a 1970s porn star from I think he's from the Hudson Valley in New York. His name is Mike Lawler. Now, he wants to run for governor of New York. He's going to run for governor of New York. He is the establishment's pick to run for governor of New York. He decided that it would be a good idea to tweet this, saying justice is served. Now, I want to make this very, very clear. Mike Lawler, I'm done with you now. If I wasn't done with your throwing George Santos out of Congress, sending all my money to Ukraine, not giving a shit about the America First agenda or the American people ass, that did it for me. That did it for me. Do me a favor and let me know when you get your tongue out of Kevin McCarthy's ass long enough to announce that you're running for governor so that I can, support the Libertarian candidate or the Green Party candidate or anyone else but you. Just saying. Yep, I said it on camera and I'll say it again. Mike Lawler, you suck. You absolutely, positively, and totally suck. So, we're going to move on because obviously we do have more stuff that I do want to get to. Once again, guys, we will be joined by Hannah Faulkner in a little bit. She is the 17-year-old author. We're going to be joined by Hannah Faulkner in just a little bit. Before we get to that, guys, Mike Lindell.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, My Pillows, towels, slippers, blankets, sleepwear, dog beds.
Whoa, Charles. Everyone now can get MyPillow products at huge discounts at MyPillow.com. That's right. Now's the time to go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our 3-in-1 sale. We're bringing you exciting new products, overstock specials, and closeout deals you won't find anywhere else. For example, when you buy one of our brand new MyPillow 2.0s, you get another one absolutely free. And with our overstock sale, you save 50% on our luxurious Giza Dream bed sheets. That's as low as $29.99 for the best sheets ever. And with our biggest closeout special, you get our all-season slippers for only $35. Or our sandals and slides for just $25. Quantities are limited, and once they're gone, they're gone.
Guys, head on over to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD. That's MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD for up to 80% off everything on the website. Guys, support the people who support this show by going to MyPillow.com, promo code LOUD, mypillow.com/loud. That'll work too. That will work too. Also, we've got some breaking news on the NFL front. Before we get to Hannah, I'm proud to say that the New York Giants have agreed to finally cut Daniel Jones, the worst quarterback in the NFL. Thank God. Thank God. Thank you, God. I don't know how much we're going to have to pay him, but thank God he's gone. Oh, thank goodness. Danny Jones has been cut. Guys, hang out just a minute. We're going to be joined by Hannah Faulkner in just 1 second. We will be right back. Alrighty, guys, we are back. So happy to have my next guest on. She's been on the show a couple of times already. She is the host of the Hannah Faulkner Show here on LFA on the weekends. Make sure you guys check that out. But we've got her on today for a very special reason. She is the author of the upcoming book, The Last Chance to Save Our Republic. Everybody, please say hello to the amazing Hannah Faulkner. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Always love coming on your show. Love watching your show. Your audience is incredible. So I am excited to be back on today.
Absolutely. So let's get to the obvious here. 17 published author. Wow. I'm pretty sure most of the people watching this right now had a difficult time doing book reports when they were your age. Never mind writing a book themselves. What brought you to the point where you were saying that you wanted to write a book? Because a lot of people want to, but not many people actually follow through.
Well, I didn't really want to write the book. I didn't feel like I could write the book. I didn't feel like I was, qualified or knowledgeable enough on these topics, or, had been involved in the political movement long enough to talk about them. My dad had been, since about last year, early last year, 2023, he started encouraging me, like, hey, like, you've done these rallies, you've been doing all of these speaking engagements, you should start a podcast and write a book. And I'm like, well, first off, I'm not having a podcast because how in the world am I going to be able to talk for an hour on a podcast? How am I going to be able to talk about these issues? I'm not starting a podcast. I'm not writing a book. That's just not happening. And so he keeps telling me this. Like, he would tell me almost every day, like, you need to do this. Come on, you got to do this. Like, you can do it. Like, just start the podcast. Like, this is, if you want to make a difference, like, these are some great ways to do it. And I was like, I feel like I can make a difference in other ways. Also, that could be seen as like showy, and I don't want to do it. Well, he kept encouraging me, and I sat down one day and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to start writing this book. I'm going to start with gender ideology. So I started with what I knew about gender ideology, and I started researching more and more and finding out all of this crazy stuff like John Money and the Reimer twins, and how the first genital mutilation surgery in America, it wasn't in 2020. It wasn't in 2000. It was in 1965 that the first genital mutilation surgery was performed. So all this mind-blowing stuff, the fact that Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, a proclaimed eugenicist in all of her writings, they gave the Margaret Sanger Award out. They didn't stop giving this award out in 1950. They stopped giving this award out just about 5-10 years ago when Americans started catching on to the original agenda, to the same agenda they have today with Planned Parenthood. So all this stuff, the founding of our country, and I just kept researching and finding more of this stuff out. And I'm like, man, okay, you know what? I'm going to write a book. So we started writing it last September, and here we are. We've got Last Chance to Save Our Republic. It's out for pre-order now.
That is so awesome. First of all, like I said, 2 or 3 of the things you just said, I didn't learn until I was like in my 30s. So, just knowing that there are young people out there like you who can be an example for so many other young people I'm curious, well, what do your peers think? Because I'm still trying to wrap my head. I'm trying to think about what the guys I grew up with, when I was your age, go, hey guys, I just published my first book. I'm trying to imagine, a few of them watch this show, and I'm sure they are probably laughing out loud right now at the thought of me at 17 going, hey, I just published a book. You guys should give it a read. So what do your friends, what do your peers think about, like, your activism and I mean, you speak at the Reawaken America tour. You're all over the place. So what do people your age think about this?
When I first got involved at like 13 or 14, I was really discouraged because none of the people around me, none of the, so-called friends that I had were willing to come to my events. They weren't coming to my meetings. They weren't, they weren't even willing to engage in these conversations. And I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, this is the most important thing we're fighting right now. We've got to get involved. What's wrong with you? And then I don't know if it's because I have the pictures with Trump or, I've been able to meet some cool people and they're seeing that and they really want to be a part of that. That now all of a sudden, I've received hundreds of messages from the same people that are like, I just pre-ordered your book. I can't wait to read it. I want to get involved. I want to get involved in this fight. So I'm actually blown away by the responses that I've gotten from my peers, from those around me, and from Gen Z. And even, I guess it's Gen Alpha. That's the next generation. So some like 13, 14-year-olds have purchased the book for pre-order. So I'm pretty blown away by the support from my generation, which gives me hope and encourages me because I know that this is the next generation that's coming up. And I mean, if we're not educated, if we're not aware of our history and what happened before us, we're going to repeat it just like we're repeating it right now. So I'm excited for my generation and just them getting the book. I couldn't encourage my generation, and everyone needs to read the book. But and maybe I'm biased for saying that, but everyone needs to still read the book. Okay?
No, absolutely. First, just knowing I'm a millennial, so just knowing that there's two generations below me now, I'm like, I think I just threw my back out hearing that. I'm sure some people in the chat are gonna get mad at me for claiming to be old as a millennial when they're boomers or Gen X. But you were talking about so many people your age starting to become more involved, and whether we see it on college campuses with frat bros doing the Trump dance, or so many high school Turning Point USA chapters popping up all over the country, and with 18 to 24-year-olds now voting for Trump and being more outwardly conservative. What are you seeing amongst the young people of America that is swaying them in this sort of direction? Because if there's one voting bloc that Democrats could always count on, it was teenagers, early 20s, the old, if you're not a liberal when you're 20, you don't have a heart. If you're not a conservative when you're 30, you don't have a brain sort of mentality has lasted for 50 years or so, but that mold is starting to break.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. And I think a lot of times, even for conservatives that were supporting Trump, they didn't really know why they supported Trump. It was kind of just like, oh, the cool thing to do is just vote for Trump, this orange man, like with the cool hair, I'm going to vote for President Trump. But now you're starting to see a shift, even from the liberal side of things, but also conservatives, where they're actually starting to pay attention. They're actually start to, educate themselves on why they support President Trump. And especially with the conversations that I've had at these college campuses, they'll tell me, they're like, within the past few months, I've really been able to just educate myself and awaken to the truth, because I've always supported President Trump, but now I'm like, okay, this is why I support President Trump. Because let's look at the 4 years, when he was president in 2016 to the 4 years under the Biden-Harris regime, and then even looking, even further to the Obama administration and how he got our country in such a mess. And all the things that they legislated under the Obama administration, the religious persecution, the attack on parental authority, the wars, all of these things. And so they're really starting to wake up, but also realize why they're supporting President Trump, not just, oh, it's the cool thing to do, right? But then talking about the left, I think, Gen Z as a whole, young people, millennials, that are starting to wake up. I think it's because we've been lied to so heavily for the last 4 years, from COVID-19, from so many young people not being able to graduate, having to do school at home, not even being able to attend, their high school, the things that they always get, their parents and their friends got to do in 2018. They didn't get to do that in 2020, and many of them in 2021. Then you saw the 2020 election, all of the corruption go down, the fraud. Then they saw people that they know, that they loved, go to Washington, D.C. on January 6th and were punished for just simply peacefully protesting the stolen election. And then you just look into the open border crisis that we're seeing. Gen Zers and millennials, they can't afford gas at the pump. Something as simple as just filling up your gas tank. They want to get married. They want to have a family. They want to live out the American dream, and they aren't able to do that. And that's why I believe Gen Z and the younger generations came out for President Trump, is because they just simply want to live out the American dream, and that's not possible under a Democrat president.
Oh, absolutely. It is so difficult. I mean, I live in one of the most expensive places in the country, and well, believe me, we're not rich. And I think to myself, if it's difficult for me at 35 to afford a home, what chance does some 22-year-old coming out of college have to even start their lives? And it's so interesting that also you talked about doing school from home and whatnot. There are pivotal moments in each generation, and whether that's Kennedy getting assassinated, or Pearl Harbor, or 9/11, or the financial crisis, having to do particularly your junior and senior years at home. I have a family that had to do this, and I can't begin to feel I can't even describe how bad I feel for them, that they got to miss out on the stuff that I look back on now, and it was, we thought it was silly at the time, scoring a touchdown during homecoming, or taking that ridiculous prom photo that everybody takes, or graduation, which nobody really wanted to go to, but everybody's parents made us go to. Like, those little things, they're never going to get that back. And I feel like the longer it takes for people to be held accountable, particularly for that, the worse it's going to be for whatever we want to call the establishment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even looking forward, for why Gen Z is waking up and realizing that the Democratic Party has lied to them. I mean, especially for women. I mean, women came out for President Trump more than they have in a long time for a conservative or Republican president. And I think, because you see the Democratic Party, they constantly bring in, we're the ones for women's rights. Well, what are you doing for women? What has Kamala Harris done for women? We've had hundreds of thousands of young ladies raped, trafficked, abducted at our southern border, and Kamala Harris, as border czar, has said nothing about it. We have men intruding our spaces, and they continue to defend men's feelings over women's safety and dignity. One of my friends, Peyton McNabb, she's partially paralyzed because of a male player that posed as a woman on a high school volleyball team, and the coaches didn't speak up. The NCAA hasn't spoke up about it. They continue to defend men's feelings over women's safety. And so I think women, too, are waking up like, okay, all you're continuing to push is that abortion is, my right, that you're fighting for abortion. That's all you care about is abortion. Like, that's the only thing that Kamala Harris would literally talk about was abortion and how she's fighting for women's rights. Well, let's talk about the abortion issue. I mean, when a woman has an abortion, she is over 155% more likely to struggle with suicidal behavior, over 40% more likely to struggle with depression. The risk of cervical cancer skyrockets. The ability to have another child decreases tremendously with the amount of abortions that you have because of the damage that it causes to that woman. So this is not only killing a life, but this is emotionally, physically, and spiritually harmful for the mother. And so I really think that women are starting to wake up, that this party is not for women. They're anti-women through and through, and they continue to even protect illegal aliens, like the one that murdered Laken Riley as she fought for 18 minutes for her life. And they have said nothing about how evil that criminal should be. And he should have the death penalty, nothing less than the death penalty. So I think women are waking up.
Absolutely. And that Laken Riley story, I mean, somebody said it to me the other day. They have to stop boxing matches with professional athletes after 3 minutes so they can take a break. She fought for 18 minutes. And I've done anyone who's ever performed anywhere, how long 18 minutes is when you're like standing on it. I've done 20-minute comedy sets, and it's the longest 20 minutes of your entire life. I had to turn that trial off. I mean, luckily it was only 4 days long, or a couple days long with the weekend, because I just couldn't couldn't imagine what that's like, and knowing that he's going to face life in jail, but what is that like? He's going to join some gang and he'll be protected, and then we'll pay for his health insurance and his food and his housing for the next 50 years. And I don't see that. I don't. Maybe it is justice, but I don't see it as justice.
No, it's absolutely not. And I think this is the reality of our so-called justice system right now. I mean, our federal government, our court system is literally treating pedophiles better than they're treating, just even people that were there on January 6th. I mean, the things that they're treating them as, they're the one that killed Laken Riley, that they're the one, that has molested children. Yet I'll tell you this. When I was 14, I job shadowed a judge, and maybe I've shared this story with you before. I don't remember, but I job shadowed a judge at 14, and I went in, and they said, "Hey, today's case is going to be pretty brutal, and we're going to have to show some of the evidence." And I get in there, and I wasn't sure what they were talking about. And the guy the criminal had raped 3 girls under the age of 8 years old. He had only been in the United States of America for less than 3 months, so he couldn't speak a lick of English. He had raped three young girls, and he videoed it too, so they had the evidence. And they weren't even considering the death penalty. They were just considering maybe 60, 70 years in prison. So life in prison, ultimately. And I'm thinking in my mind, this guy isn't even an American citizen. Either send him back to his country or give him the death penalty, because that's what he deserves. If there is no consequence, if there is no repercussion for these criminals' actions, they're going to continue to do the same thing over and over again. And even in the abortion argument, they love to bring up the rape argument. It's like, well, okay, what about the man that imposed that crime? Because you don't want to punish them because you think that's inhumane. But then you want to murder the life of the child that did nothing wrong. I mean, the hypocrisy is so thick among the Democratic Party. It's disgusting. I was watching Laken Riley's case, and the face, the guy, I can't even look at his face. It's like disgusting. It's despicable.
It was so upsetting. I mean, I turned off the mother's victim impact statement because I had it running on my show, and I'm not letting everybody see me after listening to that. That's not going to happen. You're not seeing me all worked up like that. But once again, guys, we are with Hannah Faulkner, the new author, or the author of the new book, The Last Chance to Save Our Republic. Can we get a little? You got it with you right there. Let's see. There you go. First off, the cover looks awesome. That's phenomenal. So Hannah, what? Obviously, everybody go pick up the book because nothing would make the New York Times self-immolate more than a 17-year-old conservative being at the top of the New York Times bestseller list. A 17-year-old conservative Republican Trump supporter, future Trump voter, being at the top of the New York Times bestseller list. But what else you got going on? I mean, you planning on going to Mars with Elon? You seem to be done taking over this world. So what else you got on tap?
Oh my goodness. Who knows what's next? Honestly, you never know. I mean, it's just the world we're living in. You just got it's literally, it is a wild ride that we're living in right now. And I never thought I would be writing a book until literally a year ago. I thought, okay, well, I got to listen to my dad. I'm going to do this. I never thought I'd have a show. I never would have, think that I do the investigative journalism that I do sometimes with all of these evil organizations. But honestly, that's what it comes down to is when there's a need, when there is something that needs to be exposed or filled, we have a duty as American citizens. We have a duty as Christians, as conservatives, to expose it and to make change happen. And we're a constitutional republic. That's what I talk about in my book in the first chapter, the founding of the American nation. What makes America so great and so different from other nations? We are a constitutional republic. We're a nation founded on Judeo-Christian principles. We're not a theocracy. There's no freedom in a theocracy like Iran or Saudi Arabia. But we are a nation founded on unique ideas like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And so when there's a need in our country, we've got to fill it. We've got to take action, and we've got to make change happen. So that's what I'm excited for. And also, too, for your listeners, we won this election by the grace of God. We didn't deserve it. We've allowed so much evil to happen and prevail in our country. But I do believe that in the end, truth will prevail. Truth will come out. George Washington said that sometimes it takes a little pain to bring truth to light. So we've got to get to work. We got to take action. Grassroots efforts is what you've been doing. It's what a lot of Americans, we cannot get lazy, cannot get sleepy. This is our time to get stuff done.
Absolutely. Honestly, guys, if you are not following Hannah. If your kids are not following Hannah, I don't really know what it is. I mean, what are you waiting for? Guys, pick up The Last Chance to Save Our Republic. You can pre-order it now. There's going to be a link in the description of this video. Give it to your kids. That way, your kids can know from another young person's perspective that this may, in fact, be the last chance we have to save our republic. Hannah, thank you so much for coming on. You're welcome on anytime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Mr. Kevin.
Absolutely. Alrighty, guys, we will be right back. Guys, not for nothing. I mean, I don't think I read a book until I was 17. This kid's writing it, so go check out Hannah's new book. It's available for pre-order on Amazon. Last Chance to Save Our Republic by Hannah Faulkner. Hannah, thank you always for coming on the show. Great kid. Shout out to her parents. Hell of a job, guys. Hell of a job. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. Share this video out all over the place. We got some pretty big numbers today. I'm liking it a lot. Hello. Let's get the live chat up there on the screen. By the end of the show today, we're going to have ourselves a wee bit of fun. I'm going to introduce you guys to a new doctor who is treating a new but not very rare disease. We're going to be we're going to show you that later on in the show. Hello. Yes. Goose. Mr. Kevin. The fact that kids are calling me Mr. at this point is really it's really hurting my back. I gotta be honest with you. Gotta be totally honest with you there. But let's keep on moving and grooving, because there is some more fun stuff that I want to get to before the end of the show today. You guys will remember a while ago, many companies decided that they didn't like what Elon Musk was doing with X, with his new toy that was Twitter. And they decided that they were going to boycott X. Oh no. What are we going to do? And Elon Musk, of course, had a very famous how would you say this? Quote for people like Bob Iger over at Disney.
Go fuck yourself. But go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is.
Still one of the best quotes ever. Well, it turns out they're all coming back. Comcast, Disney, IBM, among many advertisers who are returning to the platform. So it turns out Elon Musk has won once again. X's former top advertisers, including Comcast, IBM, Disney, Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Lionsgate Entertainment, have resumed ad spending on the platform this year, albeit at a much lower rate than before. From January to September of 2024, Marketing Intelligence Performance Media Radar found that these brands spent significantly less, $3.3 million on X, than they did the year before. But all the brands are beginning to come back. According to Media Radar. X's top advertisers include challenger brands such as Karma Shopping, Canal Shoes, and Coons Entertainment, each of which spent $12 million on the platform. This suggests X might move to the long-tailed advertiser strategy, said Megan Frost, the chief product officer at Media Radar. This would benefit new brands that are looking to find ways to connect with audiences without the intense competition. As X evolves, it could be forging a new ad model in a less dependent on the usual suspects. What does this mean? Since many of these companies have decided that they are no longer going to advertise on places like X, that has caused X to lower how much it costs to advertise on there, thus giving way to much smaller entities. This is good for the market. This is good for all of us. Any person that wants to advertise on somewhere like X, they are able to do it, because now it's much cheaper to do so, with the big brands out there like Lionsgate and IBM and Disney choosing not to do it. And many people have been able to rise up from this. Places like ButcherBox and a bunch of other companies have really been able to reach new audiences now that the ad revenue has, that the ad cost has gone significantly down. That is the market working. That is what we talk about when we say, you know what? We'll build our own thing. We'll have our billionaires buy companies, and then we will grow on them. A marketing strategy that clearly has not worked, however, is the marketing strategy of MSNBC, which Comcast has reported that they will be selling off MSNBC, which is genuinely, absolutely, in its totality, hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Luckily, it's because of people out there like Jennifer Rubin. Now, how do I say this? There's two ways to grow an entity. You can grow the way we've grown here on LFA TV, slowly, over time, growing bigger and bigger every day. But by being honest with our audience, we may disagree at times, and that's what's going to happen. Or you can get the shock value. Boom! The big content right out in front. Drawing eyeballs. This is sort of the, the sort of OnlyFans girls that, like, build up an Instagram and post hot pictures with a bunch of filters. There's no real substance behind it, but it draws eyeballs. That is what MSNBC has decided to do. Which is why they are now beginning to sell off many of their other entities while still keeping some of the more profitable ones. Another entity that should be selling things off in a rapid pace is the Washington Post. And the first thing they should be selling off is their reporter, Jennifer Rubin, who decided to go on an unhinged rant the other day saying that Republicans, our goal is to actually kill your children.
And for people who don't get political...
Once again, it's always these glasses. I don't know why, but it's like as soon as people put on these glasses, they become an unhinged cat lady.
Who never pick up a newspaper, who never turn on CNN, who never even bother with Fox News. Those people really have no idea what's going on. And that means we have to bend over backwards, not to suck up to these people, not to make excuses for them, but at least to communicate the basic facts.
See, you have to bend over backwards to communicate basic facts with us because we're just too stupid to understand reality and the world in which we are living in.
You don't have a vaccine because you're not getting a child tax credit because all the good things that are happening at the state level, they have to know why they're getting those things. Oh, you have a chip manufacturing plant because a Democratic president put that into effect, and a Democratic governor went out and solicited bids.
By the way, the Chips and Science Act, there has still not been a chip plant built anywhere in America that is currently operational.
And now you have X number of thousands of jobs. It's that simple. You can't talk broad themes. You have to boil it down to nuts and bolts, and you have to be pithy. What do I mean by pithy? How about this? Republicans want to kill your kids. It's actually true. If you're going to oppose vaccinations, if you're going to stop breakthrough medical research, if you're going to allow minors and all sorts of people to get semi-automatic weapons, which they use to shoot up schools, well, then you are responsible for kids' health and death, unfortunately. It has to be that simple and that direct, and it has to be over and over and over again.
You guys just will never learn. You'll never learn. And at some point, I'm going to stop feeling bad for you. At some point, I'm going to stop feeling bad for you. I'm actually, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret here. I'm actually working at the current moment in time to have someone on the show that I think, and this is actually breaking, no one knows this yet, I'm working to have somebody on the show that actually might understand why the Democrats have gone wrong. I'm currently working to have one individual, and I would love to do more of this, but, you know, it really is just so hard to do. I'm working to get a Democratic congressman on this show to give their take on what the Democrats need to do from here. Because some of them out there, you've heard me mention him before, some of them out there actually get it. They actually understand that something needs to change. Some of them, however, do not understand that. And we're going to show you one of them in just a second. Before we do that, guys, head on over to lfatv.us. That's lfatv.us. That's your home base, your mothership, your landing pad for all things LFATV related. Make sure you guys check out the shop. That is the best way to support this network and everything we've got going on over here, guys. We can't do it without your support, without your Rumble rants, without you guys becoming monthly donors here to lfatv.us. It's lfatv.us. Hit that thumbs up button as we round out the 300 mark. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. I'm liking it a lot. So some members of Congress have actually figured out why the Democrats have gone astray. Some have. Others are named Jasmine Crockett.
It's because you can then misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country. You tell me which white men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you are going to go and work. We are going to steal your wives. We are going to rape your wives. That didn't happen. That is oppression. We didn't ask to be here. We're not the same migrants that y'all constantly come up against. We didn't run away from home. We were stolen. So yeah, we are going to sit here and be offended when you want to sit here and act like, and don't let it escape you that it is white men on this side of the aisle telling us, people of color on this side of the aisle, that y'all are the ones being oppressed, that y'all are the ones that are being harmed.
More of this. More of this, please. Republicans will never lose again. More Jasmine Crockett, the better. But as I said, I'm doing my absolute best to get some Democrats on this show to actually get a different perspective. Because if people like Jasmine Crockett continue to rule over the Democratic Party, they will never win again. Someone else who will continue to rule over the Democratic Party is the mayor of Denver, who today let his citizens know that he would be cutting services for them in order to protect illegals.
Thank you all so much for being here this morning. I'm here to talk a little bit about the devastating impact of the failure of Republican leadership in Congress this week to pass comprehensive immigration change, and the impact that will have on both city budgets and on services that we can provide for newcomers in the city. The second is we will start to have to greenlight a set of hard decisions about budget reductions across the city to meet those costs that we know will continue to arrive. We want to talk about two of those today. While they're the first steps, they unfortunately will not be the last and may not be the hardest. This is a plan for shared sacrifice. And so in terms of our first step on city cuts, we are announcing today we will make some changes both to our services at DMV and to our services on Parks and Rec.
Yep, so you hear that? If you live in the city of Denver, you're going to be losing services so that they can take care of illegal immigrants. These people will never learn. They will never learn. Of course, this is not going to come as a shock to you, just as we showed you yesterday on the show, that when mayors and governors of sanctuary cities, of sanctuary states, decide they are going to give more resources to illegal immigrants, it only takes about 5 minutes to look up this story from the Post-Millennial of an illegal immigrant who has now been charged with raping his boss's 14-year-old daughter. Jesus Alberto Castillo, 20, of Venezuela, reportedly lived in his boss's house where the alleged crime happened. Castillo, who entered the country illegally through El Paso in September of 2023, reportedly sexually assaulted a 14-year-old girl on August 29th. The family notified police. When deputies arrived, he was already gone. Castillo was detained by border officials upon his illicit entry into the United States, but was released due to overcrowding of holding rooms. The Venezuelan migrant informed officials he was en route to Orlando, but ultimately arrived in Colorado. That's like 2,500 miles away. The Post was informed by the source that he was apprehended in May on allegations of forgery and larceny. So he's been arrested again, and now no big deal. No big deal. But we continue to press on. We never stop. And I want to introduce you guys. We're going to have a little bit of fun. There's a doctor out there who has begun treating a very new but very not rare disease. It is the disease of TDS.
How has the election made you feel on a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being
Nazi.
My name is Dr. Nick Peterson, and I specialize in those suffering from TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. Hello. I'm Dr. Peterson. How are you? Well, Donald Trump is a felon. Nope. I asked how you were doing. The majority of Americans can mentally handle election results on both sides of the aisle. However, there's this small, albeit growing, group of, I don't want to say Americans, but people that are just disconnected from reality. Fascist. And honestly, it makes diagnosing these people a whole lot easier. I just check their social media. Gone are the days when you just search your symptoms on WebMD at home by yourself. Now they record their symptoms and post them for the world to see. The haircut is also a dead giveaway. So, what brings you in today? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's the orange democracy-destroying, Putin-loving dictator. All right, so mental illness. They are completely blind to the fact that their absurd actions and ideologies were a big factor in their party's loss. Let me ask you this. Do you even know what democracy is? Follow-up question. Do you know how Kamala Harris became the nominee? I know you're a deplorable Nazi fascist bigot. Okay, neat. Turns out that calling half the country Nazis for 4 years was not a winning strategy. And yet somehow, not even Cardi B could save him. Do you realize what I'm going through? Yep, delusions. I am losing my right to vote? What? Where are you getting your information? Whoopi Goldberg? Well, what's the remedy, you might be wondering? Well, if you ask me, it's a history lesson in Jesus, but the pharmacy doesn't offer those. I prescribe them a brain, and I send them to trybrain.com for more information. Well, I'll show you. I'm moving to Canada. That'd be great. And I'll be shaving my head. Oh, no. And one last thing, I'm going on a sex strike. Your loss. Oh, no.
Thank you all so much for being here.
It's Friday, guys. I thought I'd leave you off with something to laugh about. Guys, Will Johnson is coming up next here on LFA TV. Make sure you guys head on over to loudmajorityusa.com. Any order today, you will get a free Trump 2024 flag with your purchase, guys. That's a free Trump 2024 flag with your purchase. I want to thank you guys all so much for tuning in. I'll catch you guys back live on Monday. Until then, everybody, stay loud.